the great fear for me is that there is this belief at Melbourne that it is all of a sudden going to magically just all change next season, Ruzi, and it's just going to all happen. And if they don't learn from what has happened this year, then all of a sudden we're going to be here next year in exactly the same position.
Yeah, I think that's why the next 5 weeks is so critical. It's what you want to see. I love Brayshaw going back in the midfield, even if it's a tagging role on Elliott Yeo. I think if I'm a Melbourne fan, I'm looking at next year, which clearly you are. I want to see some consistency in the last 5 weeks. I want to see a really solid defence. I don't want to see this reckless ball movement. I think they've really started to control that, which is great. But it's the 5 weeks for me leading into the pre-season. What's our brand? What's our game style? For me, it's now no longer about whether we win or lose, because there's some really good signs on the weekend, but just a real consistent game style. Players in, like Bailey Fritsch started mid, he's been back, he's been forward. Where's he going to play? Let's play him in a position. Let's make sure he gives himself a chance. Is he there forward now? That's fine. That's what I'm looking for if I'm a Melbourne supporter.
Let him off the hook too easily this year, Gaz. Let him off the hook too. Yeah. It's been unbelievable. 4th to 17th on the ladder. You got to get it off the chest, Gaz. What's your opinion though? Of what's really gone wrong?
Well, I don't think that's going to appease the Melbourne supporters. I know that's the good positive slant, and the rational would look at it. I've thought about it long and hard, and the only conclusion I'd come to is that last year is an aberration. And
that's the outrider.
That last year was an aberration, and they're nowhere near as good as what the results would indicate last year.
But they were building to last year, weren't they?
Yeah, but when you look at where they've been and the footy club as a whole, this is an outlier, Brownie. I mean, this is 5th on the ladder last year. They're back where they have been, not comfortable being, but where they've been for 12 years. So you have to look at the 1 year in isolation as an outlier, an aberration. It's not the norm for this footy club. So we all fell in. All the optimism of last year, I fell in. We all fell in. We fell in at the halfway mark of the year, Jared, like you just said. I think the buyers come at the right time. They're going to rattle home. It hasn't happened. Right now, they're 17th on the ladder. They're below Carlton. They beat Gold Coast by a point and Carlton by 5 points. It was an aberration.
I want to know how it can be an aberration, though, when you've got Gawn, Oliver, Viney, Brayshaw. Who else have you got? I've missed some midfielders there. Nathan Jones. Yep. That is an all-star midfield. That rates up there with the elite midfields in the competition who have been out there for most of the year. Max Gawn an all-Australian pace again. How can a midfield like that, their engine room, still put out a performance like they have this year?
So all of their scoring issues are at the bottom end of the competition, like the last in the competition. They're going inside 50.
Midfield contributes to that, though.
Well, that's right. And you just said that you just rolled them off, Brayshaw and Gawn, and so the great midfield can't help retain the footy once they go inside 50. I hate saying it because we've all had this great optimism, but if we keep saying it's going to turn, it's going to turn, it's going to turn, we might be denying ourselves the reality, and that is they're not that good.
Coming into the season...
Well, they should be a lot better, as Brownie said, and you add Lever and you add May. If the Demons aren't in the 8 next year, then there's going to be some serious pressure on Simon Goodwin and the people at on the board and the people running the club. This has been a disastrous 12 months.
Agree.
So Kilda Saturday night, is that a game they should win?
Well, and exactly right. Let's put it on them then. So if we continue to try and sell positive message, say, well, they've got to finish in a manner that's going to give optimism to next year and prove that last year was an aberration, then they beat St Kilda. They beat St Kilda on Saturday night, and Gawn and all these, who's fantastic and still continues to miss goals from 20 metres out in front, can barely get the footy on the end of his boot. All of those things have got to be put to bed and go and complete the fundamentals of football that you all think they're a top 4 side. They ain't. They miss targets. They handball to the wrong spot. They play at the wrong tempo. They're not that good.
Okay, well I'm going to put it on you then. Have we overrated the midfield specifically?
On the basis of the way they've played this year, yeah. Angus Brayshaw hasn't been able to back up his year. Clayton Oliver had a belting game on the weekend, but he's got issues with, and I'm his biggest fan, but he's got issues in getting quality and great reward for his possessions. So, yes, the bottom line is, yes, how else can you look at it, Brownie? They're 17th. They're not 11th and just out of the 8. They're under Carlton.